Can't lean back, though, because that clearly needs some WD-40. All right, welcome back to Behind the Breaks. We're back, but we're not together. How you doing, RJ?
Doing pretty well, pretty well.
Yeah, and I decided to color match the wall that's behind me. This is my camouflage move here. So, if you say something I don't like, I'll just freeze and won't be seen. So I'm on a little vacation, but we wanted to jump on, do a little recording, and got stuff for you, RJ. Very exciting time.
All right, yeah, bring it.
Bring it. You ready to be brought? Because you're going to be
Sure.
shocked about what I have to say. I am excited about the Major League Baseball winter meetings that are happening next week. Are you excited, RJ?
No, because nothing gets done anymore.
I see. I disagree. I think there's going to be some blood. What do you mean nothing gets done anymore? Soto signed that big contract with the Yankees a couple years ago. How'd that
Who?
go, by the way?
I mean, I think he had one of his statistically worst career years ever. So, hey, Mets, enjoy Devin Williams.
Yeah, he's next, right? Yeah. Anyway, no, this is the one time I'm pausing, making sure I'm not completely wrong. But if I am, let me know. Anyway, the card market moves in the off season, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be some big deals. And we're not going to rehash all the trade, or excuse me, the
hot stove.
The free agents that we talked about, because they're already locked in, RJ. You're going to lose that bet, although we were pretty similar on some of them. But I think it's going to be crazy. I think some crazy moves are going to happen. But I read up on what happens at these things. I want to be invited. It's just basically a massive party talking baseball. I mean, and then, the owners and some of the people jump in a room and have some meetings. So if you're listening, MLB, Behind the Breaks is coming next year. Just send us an invite. We'll walk around.
We could just schedule get a room in the hotel, right? And then you're just there during the same time as the meetings, and you just sit in the lobby. And I think, because isn't that where, what's his name? The most hated sports.
Burris.
Yeah. Doesn't he just set up like in the lobby with like his big like pull down, and he does like his press conferences right there so that it's like mass attention?
He walks around with a built-in press stand ready to go to make
just
announcements
behind him, right?
Yeah. But hey, Katel Marte, we have to talk about him because we're in Arizona. Well, you're in Arizona right now, and the Diamondbacks have no hope. I mean, there's no hope. I hate saying it because I love the Diamondbacks, but when you're in a league with the Dodgers and of course now the Padres and the Giants, who seem to have money, why bother? Get what you can get for the guy now. Although tomorrow doesn't matter either, because the Dodgers are still going to be the Dodgers. But anyway,
right, like at this point, you're just buying 10 years down the road to hope that Ohtani's retired.
God, isn't that horrible? Anyway, but he's on the move. He's going to go somewhere. And his card value right now, you talk about card value, he's not a big guy right now, but when he lands somewhere where they could potentially win the World Series, this card value is going to spike. So buy now. I'm calling it. Are you in, RJ? You going to buy some Katel Martes? Didn't we hit a big Marte? We hit out of 25 or out of 10 of his at some point.
I don't know if we hit out of his.
I thought we did.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm just trying to manifest it. But anyway, I think he's going to land somewhere like the Mariners. So we are now the farm system for the Mariners. They've got our first baseman.
There's buzz with the Yankees. I'm just like,
I know. I said that last week, and you looked at me like I had three heads. Now look at you.
Well, I mean, they're at this point, their negotiations with Bellinger is, I guess, they're years off. So,
Oh, so he's going to be a Met too, huh? I mean, that's the other team, right? The Met. I guess the Dodgers might want him back too. I don't know. Where do you see him landing? What's your gut say?
I don't know. I think they'll come to an agreement, hopefully. But
really,
I don't know. You never know. I think, this is it with now Devin Williams moving on, right? We'll see what happens in the winter meetings, because as soon as the first large dominoes start to fall, it's like panic mode steps in, right? But at the same time, when you're someone, I know we talk a lot of Yankees here because I'm a Yankees fan, but when you're someone like Brian Cashman and you literally have the ability to end your own career versus being on the hot seat of like, I have to perform, or make great moves to, with him, it doesn't matter, right? He's got the rings and the longevity that he can literally at any point say, I guess I'll retire in 6 years, right?
Do what you
So,
want. You know, it's okay to talk about the Yankees because as I was researching the winter meetings and all the stuff and all these players that come up about where they might potentially end, it's the same 4 or 5 damn teams. And that's so frustrating as a baseball fan to see that, like Scooble, it's the same 4 or 5 teams that have a chance. Of course, the Yankees being one. And I was reading an article this morning. At what point does Aaron Judge say, dude, get me a damn team? You guys, your pitching is where your problem is,
he
right?
passively aggressive said it last year, which was more than
Oh, did
he's
he?
ever usually said. Usually it's not committal, but it was kind of like a, we need to get the right pieces here. It was kind of like a around the trade deadline semi shot at like, come on, man. Like, come
Is
on.
that was that during one of the other one of the 8-run leads they lost because the bullpen imploded? Is that what it was,
Yeah. I
or
mean,
what?
it's pretty glaring, right? Like, yeah, the hitting can obviously keep up for the most part, right? But at the same time, it's they, you know, they it's always the pitching. It always is. You I don't know. At this point, trade the farm.
You know, what's
Screw
funny
it.
is I could
Screw
talk
it.
to you about any other team and you wouldn't be so in pain as we're having the conversation. But as we're talking Yankees, you're in pain. But I'm seeing things like they need pitching so bad they're willing to give up Dominguez
That's fine.
and go get. They're looking at the Marlins. Look right now a big talk getting a whole haul of pitchers from the Marlins for Dominguez.
It kills me. I swear. I honestly feel like they only trade with the Marlins and the Diamondbacks. And I'm just like,
That's pretty good farm systems. I mean,
yeah, right.
you got Martell, talking about that. He being one of the places. Also, the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Blue Jays are making some moves, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you see who they hosted down in Florida? He happens to live in the area. So they said, hey, Blue Jays would like to invite you over to our facility, Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
So now he's probably going to end up there, although it's a long way to go from home.
The Blue
Maybe he
Jays
should.
it's an interesting spot because I almost view them of the Marlins a couple years back where like if they don't perform again, if they sign like all these guys that like they're kind of due and stuff like this, and they don't
Yeah.
perform and maybe they miss the playoffs, I feel like it would be an immediate fire sale because right now they've got the we made it to the World Series goggles on. And so it's like, let's just reload and get everybody. And then like, the Marlins had that, right? Like, hey, they got to the World Series and won the World Series and then they fire saled it. And then even that time where they tried to like bring everybody on, right? Like Jose Reyes and like all that stuff like that, right? They lasted like 5 months and then they just fire saled everybody. And I'm just like, it'll happen. It'll happen.
I don't know. The talk is pretty exciting to watch. I'm excited about the winter meetings, and I'm actually surprised I'm saying because I never paid attention. But now, this is our first off season as a podcast. That we both love baseball, so we kind of focus on baseball. And as you're watching it and you're seeing the prices, I'm going to go to cards now on eBay are just kind of stagnant. There's not a lot of movement. People are waiting. So I'm on vacation. I've got nothing but time on my hands. And by the way, I can't wait for mail day because you're going to be opening like 400 packages. And I don't even know what I purchased yesterday.
Well, it's if you thinking about the card progression of the card buying and selling process, right now is the worst time to sell baseball cards. Right now is the best time to buy baseball cards, right? It's
Amen.
off season, so it's not forefront. Like, yeah, there will be movement, but only you're talking about on a handful of players, right? And now you could pre-buy those players, right? Like that are on, the potential trade block or whatever might be your free agent signing, like, Kyle Tucker, stuff like that. But like now is your time with, PSA and their revised grading schedules where it takes, 145 days to get a card back now. Joke. Just to get it out there so I don't get berated. Like it's only 95 days. So yes. It's so yeah, with that, like, because now is the time when you're essentially like, we're already, if you submitted cards right now to grade, you would not get them back in time for opening day or pretty close to opening day, right? Like, how
You got to
crazy is
be
that? Like,
kidding
you
me.
have to be buying right now and submitting right now because spring training is what, like 78
70
days
some days.
away,
Yep.
something like that, right? All right. So if it's a 65 day, they up to, I think, like I said, it's like 95 days or whatever it is now. I can't remember offhand, but you're at a solid 3 to 4 months to get a card back if you go on the bulk side. So what do you do? Do you push it through and try and get it quicker by paying more? But now if you don't get a 10, you're a little more screwed than, nine,
than
which is still
usual.
crazy in the card market that, nines now are almost same value as ungraded sometimes, depending on the card, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I want to talk to you about the grading and where I'm personally at, but you just hit on something that I know you're focused on because I think you have a ton of cards right now out for grading, and you sent a text the other day of the updated time frame. You want to talk about that real quick? A PSA, that message with no accountability. You basically just told, hey, by the way, I told you I'd get you that in 60 days. What I meant was 2.5 years.
right. So yeah,
All right.
they had updated this, in November. So this is essentially old news, in that case. But expectations for cars, right? So value bulk is going from 65 days to 95 days. So all they're really doing now is they are before it was the package would arrive, and then when the package would get there, it would sit, and then eventually it would come to that they're going to start the process, and then that's when your clock of
Clock
65 days
stops.
starts. Now it's 95 days. It's supposedly the minute that it gets to the shop, right? So they're essentially like they're telling you, "Hey, you were right. It is 30 days before we even start to look at your package."
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, so I miss. Okay.
Yep. So, so they're just kind of putting that time, like, because before it would be in limbo, like purgatory. You're just sitting there going, "When is it going to hit? When is it going to start that grading process?" And so yeah, so they're just kind of adding that time in now, but like they've you know they've extended everything, right? Even like there's like a pack I was going to grade, still might grade, and that is the longest time out of anything. It went from 90 days to 125 days now. So I'm like, man, if I wanted to grade this
Oof.
pack of cards, it's going to take a third of the year to get back to me. It's going to take a solid 4 months to 5 months. Like it's crazy, but yet like the growth and the amount of money that they're pulling in, right? Part of the acquisition or part of what's going on with SGC, right? Because you're seeing a reduction in all the SGC grading cards. They're like pulling people over there, and they're like, "Hey, we're just going to make this more of a boutique, like niche area, uh, you know, for I guess vintage at this point, really." But
Yeah.
like, I don't understand how you can, as a business, have the money, make the money, not reduce your fee, but increase your wait time, and that's all it's ever kind of been. But yet, can't seem to hire more people to decrease wait times, which what it does to me is it shows me that you are a poorly run internal company and people probably hate your culture.
And that's RJ's take, everyone. I love it because I think he just nailed it. It affects the bottom line. If we want to treat our customers better, that requires us to bring in more people to reduce the wait time to get their cards that they're paying us to take a look at back in
Yep.
their hands. But hold on a second, CEO, because then that means we're cut. Your bottom line is going to be, it's going to shrink,
It
and we
won't, it's
can't
not
do
going
that.
to though. It's not. This is the
I
insane part.
I know where you're going. Bring it. Go.
Well, so yeah, right here we have cards going through the grading process, right? And now they give you offers on your cards, right? So you can accept them within the first 24 hours, or you could send it to the vault and eventually sell through eBay on them, whatever it might be. Uh, but looking at what they're offering before, they were saying, hey, we offer 80% on card value through card letter. But it's really crazy because some of the cards I have come back, it gives you two things. It's, hey, your PSA estimate is $200. The card letter estimate is $400. And we're willing to offer you, $225 on this. I'm like, so what are you doing here? Are you taking the card letter value, or are you taking a mixture of your value, of your estimated PSA value and the card letter value, and then giving us an arbitrary number that you're just like, yeah, now we're at, now it's really 72% that we'll give you on a card, right? Okay, I can go to a show once I get the card back from you, and I can get 80% from a dealer cash that day. It's just that turnaround of you can, by agreeing to the sell, if you choose to sell through them that way, just to accept their offer, it's going to one of their partnerships, right? Which at this point, like, most of you probably do know, like GameStop has their own like Arena Club and Courtyard.io, all that stuff like that. Like they essentially have the mystery pack, repack, whatever it might be considered.
Right.
And it's for GameStop, it's power packs, and they are partnered with PSA. So you know that PSA is essentially buying these cards from us on the grade on that 70 to 80%,
Yep.
then reselling, with a little percent markup, whatever it might be, 10 or 5% to then, GameStop in this case, which GameStop is just coming out of beta on their power packs. Like I've been trying to get into beta to test it out, and it was mostly Pokemon, and now they've like expanded to the core for sports and Pokemon, and they're at a point where they're going to need cards from their partner, and their partner is PSA. It's actually crazy because when you log into the back end of your power packs with GameStop, it actually pulls through because you connect your PSA account. It pulls through your vault. So even if you get something on the power packs through GameStop that you want to keep, you can just literally vault it right there. So it's almost like GameStop is, the front management system, but it's
Yeah.
connected to the back end of PSA so that you retain and hold your card and can do whatever you want with it. I honestly think like, yes, cards are physical, assets right now, and you can touch them and you can have them and hold them and trade them and all that stuff like that. But as we talked about in one of our other shows with the 1,000 Card Project with Coach Mac, like it's getting more digital. It's going to be to a point where like I'm going to almost probably leave everything in my vault, which is now some giant warehouse that PSA owns, right?
Yep.
Because I can just trade or sell on such a quicker rate, that it's not even like collecting anymore. It's collecting, but it's just collecting on speed. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, I thought where you were going to go with your thoughts on the bottom line was you bring more people. If I get my cards back, I'm going to submit more. So I think they could do both. They could afford to bring in some bodies because the faster I can get that grade, see my grade, I could push things into the vault like you just said. Oh, and I'm going to say, they're really up in the time here. I'm going to submit more. I'm submitting another 10. I'm submitting another 20 this week. I think the volume increases if they increase their speed. That's my take. I'm not on the inside though.
No, and this is like the mind-blowing part, right? Collectors Universe owns PSA. It owns SGC, right? Like it's heavily into the grading, like almost monopoly style with the grading. But
Don't say such things.
Do you know what we've seen? The hugest, when you look at the grading reports, the hugest increase of cards being graded is with CGC. And it's to a point where it's like, I think the last time was like 140% increase or 100. It's crazy. So what's going on is the turn times are quicker. CGC is already like ingrained with the comic book side. So it's trusted. Pokemon users use it a lot for TCG stuff. So like you don't know if it's sports versus TCG at this point because it's just like that broad number. But being in breaks and whatnot shows and all this kind of stuff, I have actually been seeing a lot more people running single shows when they're running slabs. That yes, we'll have PSA slabs because that value return is there, but they will have stacks and stacks and stacks of CGC graded sports cards because it's a business to them, right? If they can get a product that can almost produce that same amount of value, but maybe you're losing 10% because it's not a red label.
Yeah.
Who cares? But actually, man, if you have held a CGC slab, they're pretty quality. Like they fit nice together. They're pretty sleek. They're still small and compact enough. They feel quality enough. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's an even more boon on CGC grades. And at the same time, if at some point we hear the rumblings of, well, I think Collectors Universe is looking at buying CGC because they're losing a little bit of market share. Not a lot, like it's not enough to like dent them, but they're losing that market share from SGC and from the other collectors, right? PSA was down the last month or the month before, I believe. So like it is a little dent, but like at the end of the day, what it is, it's money, right?
Yeah.
Money is going to drive it all.
Shout out to CGC then to capitalize on this, reduce your fees, have more people submit, and then say no when the offer comes in to buy you. And we'll reach out to Behind the Breaks because we're buying.
Well, once again, it kills me, right? Like this is that moment where you have such, like on the PSA side, you have such a large consumer base, right? All you guys in your magazine, you sent out like, hey, our October 10th, slab grading um, coupon or whatever it might be, like the program. There's going to be a discount. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Okay, all right. Like I'm expecting like all levels will have a certain percentage off. No, it was for one of their mid to high tier levels that gave you a slight discount. And I'm like, but how many people are more on that value bulk side, you know, it, to then push it in and, like, would you upgrade? Like, yeah, you could if you had like an Otani or something that it's going to be $1,000 card that you have to go higher on that
Sure,
level
yeah.
anyways. But I was extremely disappointed at, that's,
It's a miss. It's a PR miss.
yeah,
Because guess what? One, you say I'm going to do something, and then you can say, "Look, I did this. I gave a discount." Right. But the majority of your customers aren't there. They're not in that space. They're not going to be able to take advantage of this wonderful offer. It's a miss.
yeah. So at this point, grading is a sham. Stay raw.
And thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah. All right. We totally blew past. I just see you got me all worked up. Now
I
I'm
like
all
it, RJ. I like it, RJ, because it brings us to my next point for today's episode. And that's the final point is eBay's new pricing tool. Have you used it yet?
I have not. No.
Okay. Well, I've dabbled and I like it. Now, you are the data guy in our relationship. But I think it's pretty good. Gives you scan a card. I've actually been able to scan on my computer as well as, out
Wait.
and about.
Are you trying to tell me that the files are in the computer?
They're in the computer?
But anyway, I'm scanning. We're using the phone because you can only use the scanning tool in the phone. It's not any different than the what you can do with eBay. You click in the search bar, there's a camera. Well, for this one, you've got to go into my eBay at the bottom. And then you go in, you look for scan cards. You got to scroll down and there's a button now that says scan cards. It's got a big green new tool icon next to it. You click on that, it brings up the same camera activation that you'd see in the old way. But man, you scan it, it shows you the value of the card over time. It shows you what it should be roughly. Right now, again, I've only used it a few times. I haven't been out in the field, which I'm going to go out in the field today. Makes it sound like I'm doing some dirty work. But I'm going to scan some cards. I'm going to buy them, and I'm going to test this whole thing out. But then it tells you whether it's worth grading. This is what a PSA, the last few PSA sales were. Now, it only tracks data in eBay. So if you're wondering, it doesn't pull from anywhere else. It only pulls eBay sales. But eBay has 86% of the market for all card sales that are done online. So I think it's statistically significant when you're doing the research. But I'm looking forward to testing this thing out. And I'm actually looking forward to you testing it out. Again, you've got that data knowledge that you bring. But yeah, both raw and graded cards. I'm really excited to check it out. But the graded cards, you can scan PSA. You get into PSA and it'll tell you what the expected value. But this just gives you another platform to kind of bounce it off of, right? And you can kind of make your own decision because nothing's perfect, right? You could be grabbing a card that nobody wants and the value's not going to be there because that player was like the guy that we won't mention for the Rays, So things like that could happen. But anyway, I was interested in your take on that. I'm looking forward to you checking it out next time we chat. We'll dig into that.
Yeah, I'm interested to check it out because the comparative versus, because think about it, like Card Ladder's huge in the industry and it pulls a lot of data from some of the other sources and eBay. But, eBay is still going to give you data to a degree, but they're still going to lock some of that stuff up. So,
yeah,
I'm interested to see how that works. But also, sorry, back to the PSA and them making offers.
He's not worked up. Go,
yeah.
go.
Well, no. Well, this is that whole, like, they're integrated with Card Ladder and like even eBay, like things like that, right? Like eBay is the sales side, like you see it go through, right? So if Card Ladder is integrated with PSA and they're pulling data, and if PSA has their own estimate, and then PSA is also offering you money for your card, right? Like, hey, we'll give you $57 on this $90 card right now, right? If you accept that offer, is that data now skewing into Card Ladder? Like, is Card Ladder pulling sales from them now? what about like GameStop and their power packs? What about things like, have they integrated that way yet to see? Because a lot of people will buy that stuff back at, they'll get a card and they'll sell it 90% right away, right? And then, they're making their little transaction fee off at 6%, whatever it might be. And then you're rebuying packs and rebuying packs. Like things are happening. It's a casino where it's gambling now, and prices are being picked so quickly. Like transactions being so done. Like I did power packs. I finally got in, did power packs the other day. I think I bought I was showing you that like 30 cards, right? Started with a couple $100 and like bought, sold, bought, sold, bought, sold. And I'm like, does that price point now affect what's the price point going forward, or do they weight stuff differently, more heavily with just an eBay sale versus their own internal systems? I don't know.
Just want to make
Sometimes
sure
I love this. Sometimes I love this hobby, and sometimes I just hate it so much.
yeah, it's becoming, it's becoming 100% a business, and to your point, almost a full scale casino. And it's just, how do you
Yeah.
how do you find your piece that works for you? And that's kind of what the whole concept of
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
we're doing here is, hey, I tried this. Like Zach, if you haven't listened to the last episode we had out, Zach's Bowman Hacks, dude's brilliant, and he's got me looking at pictures now. You got to listen to the episode for the context, so please jump back and listen to Zach. He's on TikTok, Zach's Bowman Hacks. He's a Bowman collector at all. But RJ and I, after we talked to him, we're like, wait a minute, pitchers. You start doing some research about strikeout ratio when they're in the minor leagues. Like, you got to find your niche. You got to find your thing. What works for you.
I think, that's half the battle, right? Because you, at
Yeah.
first, you get in and you're like, I want to do all the things. And then you realize, that's
Yeah.
not
And
possible
then-
because there's so many options to do stuff. So,
And then there's me right now. And let's finish up with this topic.
wait, I still have my question for you. So you
Okay,
keep
well,
pushing me out. You keep
I'm not
pushing me out.
pushing. I was going to get. I'm saying topic-wise. We have the wall. If you've been listening to us for a while, yeah, RJ and I were building a card wall where we each get, I think it was 25 each. We're going to put it up on the slabs. We haven't approached it because we had to move out because of other reasons, but the studio's up and operational. The slab wall is up. So stand by for content. But my point isn't about that. My point is, as I've been on vacation, I've been looking at slabs, and you know what I'm going to? I want to build a wall of guys that I like, but guess what? I'm getting destroyed. Barry Sanders cards. People are like going after these old vintage guys. Ryan Sandberg. I'm trying to get his. I thought I was going to win it for $42. I may have fallen asleep, and I woke up when my alarm went off to final bid. That damn thing was $350. People are going after the old school dudes now. I say that, and that means that I'm getting old because those are the guys I grew up with. But the slabs of the vintage play, we talked about this with Coach Mack about that's what he's collecting. That's what he has in his PC, and like the Randall Cunninghams. That's where it's at, RJ. I'm looking at the vintage cards, and that's what I'm going after right now.
Yeah, this comes back to that casino style, right? Like the new modern stuff is flashy and now and could be a huge payout. If you are looking at this like as an investment term, right? You have to look already at some guy that's maybe the graded card of a guy that's already has his rookie card that, he is proven. And the only thing that can do it pretty much at that point is kind of increase in value, especially after he passes away or whatever it might be in 40 years, 50 years from now. So you definitely have to look at that. There's totally crazy mentalities. That's why I think people go through progression, right? People come in, they start with modern, things are flashy and crazy. And then next thing you know, you have a card that you're like, oh my God, I paid 10 grand for this rookie card of his. And then like Zion Williamson, right? Like that was insane. And like now what is he? He's just kind of an average to low average player. And, people were buying stuff for 10, 20, 30 grand. So I think at that point, once you lose your ass enough on that stuff, you start to look and go, what's got stability? Oh, if I buy a tobacco card from 100 years ago, it might not move down. It probably won't move down. It's only going to really increase, but at a smaller ratio going forward. So you just, at the end of the day, just collect what you love.
Collect what you, and that's what I've started doing. But I didn't realize, like I said, before I was able to grab some, like Tony Gwynn, some Ozzie Smiths for reasonable prices. But this past week or so, I'm getting destroyed by people that are going after my cards, man. I don't like it.
Well, I
Stop
feel
buying
you,
my
but
cards.
it's on every side, right? Because I've been looking at some 1977 Wonder Bread Star Wars cards. Like it's the
Yeah.
first cards that they printed, right? I think it's like a 20, is it 18 or 21, something like that, you know? And so like someone I think had an entire graded lot up. Granted, they're not like high grades, it's a mixture of grades, right? But like you get to your tens on that stuff, nines, eight, nines, tens, and it starts to get pretty pricey. But you look at stuff like that and you're like, even stuff like this is skyrocketed like crazy, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you talk about those old cards and the flashiness of the new, and people get into. I think there's some psychology there, right? Hey, I saw this guy and he sold a card. He
Yeah.
bought a spot for $7 and he hit a $4,000 Otani or whatever, and people get caught up in that. Like, I can do that too. And I'm not saying I'm
Well,
guilty of that
that
because
just
I've
happened
never
to
done
us
such a.
once again, right? The other day I was laying on my couch. I'm like, hey, a couple shows ago, right? We did the card break off and Matt pulled like the epic Otani big head, whatever. And we did a video when we went to the San Diego show for Front Row Sports Cards, right? And I'm like, I was psyched. I'm like, yo, this card is going for like $1,100 at the time. We sold it for like 900 cash or 850, whatever it was. I felt good because I'm like, cash, not paying fees, any of that stuff. It's now going between $4,000 and $6,000 on eBay. And like, granted, yes, it's
Raw?
Otani. Yeah. Well, the $4,000 was raw, and
Good
the
God.
I think the 6,500 was a 10. But
What were we thinking?
well, that card wasn't great at 10. It was off center, and there's a print line on it and stuff like that. So I felt good of what we got it for. But at the same time, like even like holding that now, like that could have been probably $2,000 at that rate. Like, hey, low end, but so
Fast nickel, slow dime, but it's Otani.
And that goes into my top 5 stories of Otani cards that I've lost over $2,000 on. So I was texting Matt. Yeah, I was texting Matt and Brian. I was like, I think I'm horrible at this, guys. Like, you just can't.
I'm only laughing out of pain.
Yeah.
All right, RJ, what's your question? I know I have the answer.
All right.
Or
question.
An answer.
So Alex Rodriguez is a polarizing character. I'll call him a character because that's kind of what he's been throughout his life, right? Great baseball player, using the juice, all that stuff. So he is we're going through Hall of Fame voting right now, right? Like, you're seeing some stuff trickle in. Manny Ramirez is getting a couple votes. This is last year on the ballot. Carlos Beltran is on it, and he's been part of that huge scandal. Like, should a guy involving a scandal be in? And besides David Ortiz, which for some reason, I don't know why anyone voted in, because he did do steroids, allegedly, from research. A-Rod brought up a interesting point of, if I'm not in the Hall of Fame and I was this great player and some of these other players aren't great because we were in the steroid era, right? Why is Bud Selig in the Hall of Fame? Bud Selig was inducted in 2017. If you're the commissioner of baseball and you get to be inducted into the Hall of Fame because you oversaw essentially the juice era, what the hell are we doing? Why are we keeping all these other guys out that should be in because they are premium players who got caught eventually under your watch? But how long was juicing going on for? 12 years? 14 years? That's like Bud Selig's entire run of him as a commissioner. So starting a campaign, never been done before. We need to oust Bud Selig from the Hall of Fame. That's it. I'm done. If they're not in, you can't be in. I think it's fair and square.
All right. So what's my question?
Thanks. Sorry. When am I tired?
No, don't be. I love it. I love the energy here.
Should Bud Selig be allowed to be in the Hall of Fame? Like, if they, because he's already in, it's done, right? But if he was at a vote right now to be allowed in as commissioner, right? Should he be allowed in?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is ridiculous, by the way. But I do love your passion about it.
Yeah, man, I'm so worked up today.
I know.
I'm just gonna go outside and mow the lawn or something. I don't know.
Throw rocks, or yell at kids. Get off my lawn. No, and Bud Selig, man, I'm not a fan. I think Bud Selig did a lot of things that were kind of jacked up through the years, overseeing the steroid thing and not exposing it.
What does that plaque look
all
like?
At once, or he did it piecemeal. Because, man, these guys are good for the game. So I got to do it like, no, you either do it or you don't do it. And anyway, that was a good question that finally worked its way out, man.
Sorry,
I like it.
In starting to talk about it, once again, it got worked up and realized I had not asked you the question. So, but I mean, like his legacy should be tied to their legacy. And I'm curious, I'll have to look up what his plaque says, right? Like, is it like, hey, he was a really great commissioner that drove revenue into baseball and actually kind of almost killed it at some point, and then brought in this whole rule where at the All-Star game, you have to win it and you get to be the host of the World Series because it ended in a tie one time.
Yeah.
Like, God.
I mean, also
some people in life just fell up. Bud Selig is one of those people.
But I'm actually racking my brain. I just watched the Montreal Expos documentary about what happened to them, and I can't remember if he was on the very end of it, if he was a commissioner yet. I don't think he was, but it's worth watching. It's on Netflix. Yes, I am paid by Netflix because I like all their damn sports documentaries. That was a joke. They're not paying me. But I can't remember if he was part of it because it was a shady deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
My God. What they did to those poor people.
Yeah, but it was a whole, like, it's like Montreal, moving, but at the same time, like, because I think he was, that's how that Boston got acquired. It was like this whole crazy deal, like, hey, we're going down to Florida, but I don't want Florida anymore. I want Boston. Like, everyone's like holding everybody, hostage on this, scenario. And then next thing you know, the Expos have, Pedro Martinez and Randy Johnson and all these pieces, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., all these people, like, they would have, you look back on it too, and you're like, that would have been a
Marquise
crazy
Grissom.
team. Yeah.
They were going to win the World Series the year they went on strike. If they didn't go on strike that year, they probably would have won the World Series. They were unreal, as you said. I mean, they were stacked from top to bottom. Larry Walker, my God, they were. I mean,
incredible. I guess I got to take that back on Randy Johnson, because Randy Johnson really didn't come into, like, he was decent in Seattle, but like, he came into his own. He got to Arizona, like, something just clicked, and he's like, all right, I'm going to be the greatest pitcher, top 5. Ever. Yeah.
Well, there you go, RJ. Another episode in the bag. Yeah. Always good to chat with you. I love watching you get worked up. Go lay down.
All right. In summary, too long, didn't listen. Right? Grading's a scam. Come down on overage time. Make it quicker. Reduce prices. Offer at least a decent coupon. And Bud Selig, oust him from the Hall of Fame.
You're out. All right, RJ. Good talk. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody, for listening, as always.
Take it easy.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Breaks. We appreciate you being here with us and helping us grow this community. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.
Make sure to like, follow, or subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one.